All right, so welcome to this webinar. This webinar is about billable hours and law firm economics. This particular topic, in my opinion, for a lot of people, it's not as interesting in a lot of respects as other topics that I've done and other things that I've discussed. But it's actually, in my opinion, one of the most important things you can understand about practicing law in a law firm. It's a mistake that lots of people, partners and associates, do not understand when they're working inside of law firms, because your ultimate objective in any law firm is to make the law firm money. The more money you make the law firm, the more successful you're going to be. And so many people go into working inside of law firms and are working inside of law firms that really don't understand how important it is to be making a law firm money. That's your only job inside of a law firm, is to make the law firm money. And the better you understand that, the better you're going to do in your career. And unfortunately, so many people go into law firms not understanding how they need to make the law firm money in order to succeed. So if you don't make the law firm money, you're not going to stick around. You're not going to be there. The people that make the law firm the most money are the people that have the most employment security. So my goal for you today is really to understand how you can get security work in a law firm, and not only get security, but make money. The people that make the most money for the law firms are the ones that make the most money. And I know a lot of attorneys that understand this. They understand it earlier in their career, and they end up succeeding at the highest levels of work in a law firm. But if you don't understand any of this, you're going to have a lot of problems, and you're never going to succeed. So as a partner, you need to understand this. As an associate, you need to understand this. And the better you understand these rules, the better off you're going to be. Now, I'm making this presentation today because a lot of people do not understand how to make a law firm money. And if you don't understand this, you're not going to do well. Just as before I get into this, I want to let you know, like, how much potential you have if you do make a law firm money. You have the potential to make a lot of money yourself. I know lawyers that bill in law firms that make over $10 million a year when they understand this. So this is a very important topic, and it doesn't really matter what your practice area is. If you're working in a law firm that bills for your time, you can do very, very well if you understand these rules. So I'm going to make a very simple analogy to start. In a law firm, it's no different than any simple business. For example, being a hot dog vendor. These are both vendors. I mean, these are both businesses and selling something. And in a law firm, what you're selling, you might not be selling hot dogs, but you're selling your time. And a lot of times, people that are successful partners inside of law firms, they often think that the new associates they may be working with and don't really grasp the business aspects of working in a law firm or the legal profession, and especially people that have never actually worked in businesses. A lot of attorneys just go straight from college to law school without ever working in a business and without understanding the pressures of a business that's selling something. So in simple terms, what happens is partners, they bring in clients that are willing to pay for the billable hours, and associates bill work to those clients. And when associates bill hours, you write down your hours. These hours are given to a client that pays bills, and this revenue that comes in from your billable hours covers your overhead, which is things like the office you're working in, the people that are assisting you inside of the law firm, secretarial type people, salaries of other associates. It gets all kind of pooled in, and then the money that the partners make from their work as well as your work. And when you start any law firm as an associate without business, you are going to be expected to shift your focus from billing hours to bringing in clients to give other people and yourself work to do. And so this transition in any law firm is something that you always need to be thinking about. If you're an associate, you always need to think about billing as many hours as you can that the clients are willing to pay for to bring in money. But as time goes by, it's never enough to just do the work. Your focus is going to need to shift from doing work to generating business for the law firm. So early on in your career, when you start, you are a soldier and your job is really just to do the work. You are able to become more proficient in the work you're doing as time goes by, meaning you become a better worker. But when you at the point you become a better worker, you need to be also be shifting from bringing in clients. So as a new associate, you just are expected to bill. But as time goes by and you become more proficient, you know what you're doing. You're going to have to switch from doing the work to bringing in clients. And at the outset, I want to just bring something to your attention. I work on candidate accounts all day. So what I do is I look at candidates that are coming in. I put jobs into their accounts. But one thing I notice is what happens is a lot of people, once they get several years of experience, they're in a position where they're just doing work instead of bringing in clients, and it becomes harder and harder for them to get to survive. So even if you're in a large law firm, once you get to having 7 to 8 years of experience, your job is always at risk because your billing rate gets higher and there's less work because your billing rate becomes similar to partners. Partners would prefer to do the work on their own because they make more money when they do their own work. So it becomes harder and harder for you to survive. So you always need to be thinking about bringing in clients, and you should be thinking about that early in your career rather than later. You need to learn about how it's done. I can tell you how it's done, other webinars and things that I've done, but that really needs to be your focus. You may go to a small firm sometimes. Small firms may be doing things like different types of litigation, whatever, but you're going to need to bring in business in a lot of small firms right away. Small firms often make that a requirement right out the door. But when you start doing work, you're always on a partnership track, but that partnership track will require you to bring in business. So you need to develop the skills to become a partner when you're and bring in business when you're in any law firm. And it depends on the type of attorney you are. But if you're an associate in a law firm, that's what you're expected. If you don't want to be able to bring in business and do the best type of work, you can always become a contractor staff attorney. But the meaning of a contractor staff attorney really is that you're not going to be held to the same expectations of an associate, meaning there's no pressure to bring in work. You might not even have pressure to bill a lot of hours and bring in that kind of money. But if you do good work as an associate, you're going to be eligible to be a partner in a law firm at some point in time if you want to be the correct type of partner. So it's important for all associates and anyone in the legal profession to understand what the difference is between an equity partner and a non-equity partner, because this is thrown around all the time. Equity partners really mean that you're someone that's bringing in business for the firm, meaning you're creating a lot of wealth for that business. You're giving work to associates. You're bringing in clients that are billing. They're going to continue billing a lot of money, and because you are able to do that, you will become an equity partner, and you will own a piece of the law firm, and you're entitled to the share of the profits that come in to the law firm. And what are profits generally? Like, how is that talked about, and what does that mean? Typically, what that means is that you are, when associates do the work and when other partners do the work, you're going to get a share of the profits. What is that share of the profits? The share of the profits generally is and I'll go into a little more detail later, but things are typically thought of as thirds. So 1/3 of the work of an associate, like if an associate's billing out at $300 an hour, 1/3 of that will typically go to the firm as profit. So that would be 30%, meaning if you're bringing in $300 an hour, then 1/3 of that would be almost considered the profits, 1/3 would be overhead, and then 1/3 would go to your salary. That's kind of how they think about it. If you buy, once you get a share in the law firm, a lot of firms will require buy-in. Some of them are like, low, like 35,000. Some of them are 100,000 or more. That's kind of what, when you buy into the firm often to get to be an equity partner. Not all of them are like that, but a lot of them are. Non-equity partner often just means that you're, you have a lot of value to the firm. You do very good work. They like you. They want you to have that title. The title of and say that in your card or in the firm or anything like that, but it typically just means you're very, very good at what you do, but you don't have any business yet. You don't get a share of the profits, and you may have some job security that's similar to equity partners, but often that's actually not the case. A lot of firms will make people a non-equity partner with the expectation that they're going to bring business at some point, and if they don't, they often lose that title. But becoming a non-equity partner is a way for you to hold yourself out to potential clients as a partner, and they're more likely to give you business with that title. So it gives you an opportunity and some sort of runway to develop those business generation skills. One thing I do notice, and it's kind of sad to say, but a lot of non-equity partners never are able to bring in business, and they can keep that title for some time. But if the work slows down and no one's giving them work, which often happens, then they will lose their job as a partner and do other things. They'll often go in-house or try to find a firm that's willing to give them work as a non-equity partner, despite not having any business. And so, if you're, not going to be able to develop business, especially in large law firms, you're going to have to look for opportunities elsewhere. So, the basics of what I've just told you are that as an associate, you're expected to do the work. You can become a non-equity partner without work, or you can develop work and become an equity partner, which gives you a lot more job security, the ability to take clients to other firms, and essentially what happens is, what's so nice about becoming an equity partner or generating your own business is that the law firm actually starts working for you, meaning they're providing you overhead, they're providing you the brand, they're providing you associates. And that's really the role that everybody that you should really want to get to. And everyone needs to think about that. If you're a non-equity partner, you need to think about that. And equity partners will always try to develop business and do, get as much, as they can. So in any business, including the law firm, the people that bring in the work are a lot more valuable than the people that do the work. The longer I've been doing this, the more I almost see, being an associate it's obviously prestigious to be an attorney, but it almost is kind of like a blue collar type profession if you don't have business, because you're just working for other people, and they pay you kind of what they want, what the least they can for your qualifications, and you don't have a lot of job security. It's kind of scary. So the people that bring in the work inside of law firms are worth a lot more than people that don't bring in the work. And it's just kind of like that in all business. For example, in a college, college athletes, or in a college that has sports teams bring in a lot of money, and the example would be coaches of a successful college sports team is probably going to make a lot more money than even a college president, because a football team or a basketball team could generate uh, tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars for some schools. So the coaches are getting these teams to do very well, which brings them more and more money. So they're compensated very highly. And so in a law firm, it's the same thing. People that are bringing in lots of money are much more valuable and earn more than people that don't. So it's just important to think about. So attorneys often think that it's enough to do the work. There's nothing they don't need to, sell. But in reality, people that are salespeople that can bring in work are, they understand this. And what's important for everyone to understand, regardless of what type of attorney you are, is how important the idea of selling things is. You have to sell to succeed, and selling is part of everyday life. I mean, if you want someone to date you, you need to sell them on how good you are. Anything you do is really about persuasion. You have to persuade people to your, whatever it is, to convince someone to go to a movie with you, or to go to a certain type of restaurant. You have to persuade someone. And so, anything you do there's sales skills involved. And in a law firm, selling is very, very important. It's not just doing the work; it's selling people that you can do the work, and that you have skills to do the work. I talk to people all day long. I just talked to a senior associate today about the importance of work and how you generate work. He was saying, "No, I was going to trial today. I was in court on a hearing. I was in court in a hearing. I was doing this," and he was looking for a new firm. He's a senior associate, and I was talking to him about, just how important it is to just not sit there and go to court and write motions all day. He needs to, figure out how to tell people he's an expert, how to approach potential clients that are being sued, and how he can excuse me, I'm on the phone here. Why it's so important for him to be able to. Sorry, I'm just looking for a cord here. Why it's so important. Why it's so important for him to be able to. Sorry, I'm just getting something here. To be able to get clients to work with his. Sorry about this. To work with this law firm, and the idea of being able to go out and find people that have been sued, and then giving them information about how what he does and how he can help them. And it's just every type of any type you're doing anything, whether it's practicing law, you just need to be able to sell people on the fact that you're good at what you do. You need to be able to sell yourself to get a job in a law firm. You need to be able to sell yourself to clients to work with them. And everything is about selling. And the only way you're going to succeed in any law firm is if you, and in the practice of law, is if you develop these sales skills to get people to hire you, but more importantly, having the ability to sell clients to potentially work with you. And this is really the only way that you're going to have any type of career flexibility and control in practicing law. I mean, you have to be able to bring in business, and you have to think forward about being able to do this. And you have to know that just being good at your job and doing good work isn't going to guarantee you any form of success. I mean, it's very sad for me because I talk to people all day, every day that don't have business and have never been able to do it, and it's very sad for me because I've had conversations. I had a conversation, not too long ago with this guy that was a senior associate in litigation in a law firm, and he was trying to get jobs, and he was it was in New York and he was outside of his office and he was on the phone. And I was saying he was disappointed that none of these large law firms wanted to talk to him. And he felt like, his career was over because he couldn't get interviews and he wasn't getting interviews because law firms at his level in the type of firms he was applying to. Now, he could get a job. He just had to look at other types of firms, but the type of law firms he wanted to work in just were, not interested in him. And he felt a tremendous, sense of lack and, upset about this because he didn't even have security at his own firm. I've had, non-equity partners like lose their jobs, and it's hard. I mean, you have a house, you have a family, and without this business, things don't go well. So you just need to really think about this, regardless of the level you're at. What can you do to put yourself in a position to succeed? And your first year, like I would say, like your first 5 years of practice in a firm is about becoming technically proficient, meaning you know what you're doing, you become very, very good at it, and if you're very, very good at the technical skills of your job, you can certainly stay at a place for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, but that's not enough. I mean, you need to have marketing skills. You need to know how to bring in business and how to be someone that has your own work because in the end, this is really what it's about, your ability to do that and the ability to find clients and these skills, these relationship skills are more important than being technically proficient in what you do. I have a candidate right now who it's very interesting. He's a litigator, but he has brought in these clients that do this type of work. It's land use, which isn't related to litigation. It's technical type work, and he gives that work to other partners in his firm, which gives him actually employment stability, even though he's not doing it. And he has very, very good relationships with these people that do land use, and they give him work to give to his law firm because he has such good relationships with them. He actually met them surfing, and these are people that he has a good relationship with. And the relationship is so strong that he calls them every week and sees how they're doing and just checks in because they like this relationship, and it's more important than he even being very good technically. So it's just important that he has employment security as a litigator, even though he doesn't have, he's not doing that type of work for clients. And, again, you have to be a good lawyer. You have to have skills as a lawyer, but really your most important skills are going to be related to your sales skills and then your ability to have, social skills with your clients, because if you don't have that, you're not going to succeed. I have this other candidate, very, very interesting. He's a patent agent, and we represent patent agents. It's the only non-type of attorney that we represent because patent agents can practice before the trademark office, and they can write patents and things just like a patent attorney can. So they're very similar, but they're not attorneys. And I have this one patent agent attorney, a client that incredibly, he's got like $3 million in business. Most of it comes from one client. but he's got incredible amounts of employment security. He's been moving between firms, and if you take it, and he's probably 15 years out of school, and everybody wants to hire him. But if he didn't have that business, nothing would happen. And I have patent agents that have 15 years of experience in the same practice area. He does biotech patents, and no one is interested in them. It's all this guy's business. It's his relationships with them, and that's really what makes him successful with this particular client. Just they like him, and that's what makes everything go happen. So you have to be thinking about getting clients, and people. I've had clients that have gotten, our candidates have gotten clients from working in nightclub. I mean, from going out to nightclubs, people that were there. I mean, you just have to really understand this, because it's a business, and no business will survive without people that are willing to pay, pay for the work you're doing and pay other people. So this is really the most important thing. It's about bringing in business. It's not just being technically good at what you're doing. The most important thing is bringing in business, and you can be successful as a lawyer doing any type of work. It could be immigration, it could be trust in estates, it could be working for school system, working in education law. But the most important thing, honestly, is the ability to bring in clients. I've seen. I mean, it's very funny. I've seen some partners in law firms that are going out and hanging out with potential clients like 2-3 nights a week. They go drinking, they sushi, and all these kind of fun things. But then just sports game, go to sports events, concerts, whatever. And they have these relationships, and a lot of them aren't even very good lawyers. I mean, they're okay. I mean, they're good and they understand things, but their real skill is bringing in business. I remember this partner when I was practicing at Quinn Emanuel. He's no longer alive. His name was Bill Urquhart, and he was just a incredible business generator. But it was all about these relationships, and most of the work that he brought in was done by others, but he became extremely successful because of his ability to form these relationships and bring in clients. So you can't get lost in the weeds, meaning you can't just sit there doing all the work and think the good things are going to happen. The people that do the work are actually serving the people that are bringing in business. And so what do you want to do? Do you want to be someone serving the people that are bringing in business, or do you want to be someone that's also bringing in business and doing the work? And it's all very, very important. It's critical. So, a law firm has to make money on you. You have to be a profit center for the law firm, and they have to be able to justify what they pay you. And it's just, it's what it is. And so, associates in law firms and things and other partners, they will go online and they'll see who's making what and what firms are giving them the most money, and kind of what, who's paying the most, and why they're paying the most. So you can look at a law firm and think, well, they're paying the most, I'm going to work there. But that's not always the most important thing. I was talking to a associate just probably like an hour ago, and he was a senior associate inside of a law firm and getting ready to take an offer or look at an offer that I had gotten for him. And he was saying, oh, it's coming down to money, or they're going to pay me more money than I'm making now. And I was thinking, that's just so stupid, because really what you should be considering is this a firm where I can ultimately succeed by bringing in business? So you're like an 8th year associate and one law firm's paying you going to pay you 290,000, another's going to pay you 250,000. But is the law firm that's paying 290,000, is that a place that's going to be more likely that you're going to be able to bring in business and you're going to be able to succeed there, or not? So you shouldn't be looking at a law firm as a place where, where the money is most important. It's going to be a law firm where you can succeed. I've had so many candidates that could have gone into law firms where they would have succeeded by bringing in business, as opposed to a law firm that's just paying them a lot of money. I had this one candidate not too long ago. He had an offer from a law firm that did this special type of I don't know, it was government. I think it might have been like I don't know, something to do with election law or something very kind of niche. But he was also a litigator, and there was a firm that offered him this election law job. I think it was might have been in San Francisco, and it was filled with a bunch of people like him. They were able to bring in a special niche set of clients that he also could have brought in because he was understood in this government type election law and people. But instead of taking that offer, he ended up going to a large firm in New York because he was going to make twice as much money. Burned out after like a year and a half of working 2,500 hours a year, and ended up leaving the practice of law for a while because he was just so burned out by this. Whereas if he'd gone to the firm for half as much money, he would have brought in clients and had a much longer and more stable career. Because a lot of times, most of the time when you go to large law firms, especially as an associate, they're just going to work you to death, and they're not maybe be very, very hard to bring in business when you could be in a smaller firm many times that matches where people that you like, and in a place where you can bring in business, as opposed to being a servant to a large law firm. So if a firm's paying you a lot of money, they're getting something from you. And people think that when they get a lot of money from a firm, is often the firm is that's the best place to work. And it's not necessarily the case. And what you don't always know is that it's just very, very difficult many times. When you're just thinking about money, so it's not necessarily the best thing. So if a law firm's paying you a lot of money, there's just quite a lot of stuff that's going on that you may not see. So so I'm kind of talking a little bit about that. But if you're not bringing in business into a law firm, then you're going to have to justify your salary. You're going to have to work a lot of hours, and that's the biggest point I want to make to you is that if you get a lot of money from a firm, as an associate, there's kind of a quid pro quo, meaning that money is going to be paid, and you're going to have to do a lot of work for that. And it may not come that easy. There's kind of another thing that I think is very interesting, and it's not something that people always talk about, but when you go to large law firms, a lot of times what you're doing is you're front loading a lot of compensation earlier in your career, because you often will make a great deal of money, but at the same time, you'll never bring in clients and at a large law firm, because it can be very, very difficult with the amount of hours you're working, and also the type of clients you'll need to bring in. Because if you try to bring in a large clients, like you're working at a great firm like Sidley and Austin, for example, and you're working, they're going to, unless you're bringing in really big clients, they're not going to be interested in those clients. So what your job really is just to do work. You're never going to bring in, you may never bring in clients. If you never bring in clients, you're never going to be, you're always going to be dependent on someone else for money. And so it may look like a lot of money you're making when you're there as a, first through eighth or ninth year associate. But, what are you going to do when that law firm no longer needs you, because you're not going to have clients and you're not going to have any employment security. So you do things like go in house and other things that you might not have to do if you were in a firm where you could generate business. So very, very important to understand is that early in your career, you make choices to go to different types of firms, but you may be in a situation where you don't have any business in your career doesn't have employment security because you may have made a lot of money early in your career, but you're not in a position where you have clients and have control over your career and what happens to you. And I'm just kind of explaining this because I think a lot of people, they look at the money that a law firm will pay you when you're an associate, but they're not understanding that that money comes at a cost, and the cost is that you may not generate clients, and then by not having clients, you won't be in a position to succeed. So, when you start at any law firm, you need to understand, what's expected of you in terms of business generation and how that kind of works. So big firms, you aren't expected to bring in business. You're expected to just do a lot of work. So you're in a position where you can develop skills, and you're not necessarily going to have to worry about business. Again, smaller firms do give you that opportunity often because they're out in the community, and you have. And not only are you doing work, but you have the opportunity to bring in business. So, bringing in business is, very, very difficult in most firms because either, you're bringing in new clients to get additional, or trying to get, additional work from your firm's existing clients, but bringing in clients is very important. So people, what do you do to bring in business? There's a lot of sources. You can get on boards. You can be involved in community activities. I'm just telling you some ways that people do it. You try to get involved in community groups, things along those lines. A lot of times you'll go out and you can make presentations. You can, you can try to, if you have family law, you try to meet with different types of people that may have those issues, and just realize that, business can come from all different types of sources. And this is what attorneys do. I mean, I'm talking a little bit about generating business, but in order to generate business, you need to be seen. So you can't often be seen if you're just sitting inside of a law firm. You need to get out there and generate and get involved in things that could potentially lead to business. So that means whatever it takes, just putting yourself in positions and in groups and things where you can potentially generate business. I knew an associate who was very interesting. He was living in Montebello or some kind of suburb of Los Angeles, and working in a very large law firm, a New York-based law firm in downtown Los Angeles. And he sat on the board of a hospital that was in Montebello or something like this, just a community hospital. He did that. And he was just a regular litigator, but he was out there kind of doing that. And then one day, this hospital got sued. I mean, the whole hospital, in some huge litigation. I don't know what it was related to, but it was something huge, huge thing that they were sued for. And he sat on this board, and he was the attorney that was there, and he was kind of in the right place at the right time. And so the hospital, he told them he's kind of work, he's on the board, and they referred this case to him, and it resulted in millions of dollars in fees, and they were able to lower the fee that the law firm would charge for this client, because typically they didn't, it's New York firms, they have very high billing rates, and helped him become a partner because there was so much business. So, there's so many ways to get business, and especially a lot of times, if you are able to bring in business, you can figure out how to bring in new business. And so, you have to, continually think about that once you bring in clients. So, your best source of, when you do bring in business, your best source of new business is often from existing clients. And so it's very, very important, to think about how you can bring in different types of work from existing clients once you do bring in clients. So, there's quite a bit that I could, talk to you about in terms of what you do with existing clients. But the idea of any attorney bringing in clients, and what you need to think about is, how do you find work to be done? So, and this is kind of a little bit of a tangent, but the whole purpose of any type of work that you do for any client, or for a partner, even when you're an associate, is you find work to be done. So you find you keep you keep clients active, you keep figure out how to continually have money coming in. So if you're an associate, one way you would do this is you talk to the partner, and you're working on something, and you find extra work you can do. There could be extra research. There could be extra corporate work. There could be extra work on a patent. There could be extra work in real estate. You try to find extra work that can be done for the partner, for the client, and then you try to do it when you start bringing in clients. You try to figure out how to continually have work coming in. So your whole goal as an attorney is to find work to be done, whether it's for existing clients or for new clients. You try to find extra things that could be done, because you're always trying to get more billable hours and things that are coming in to the firm. And one thing I also think is very important to talk about is billable hours, meaning people come into law firms and they think, oh, I'm going to do pro bono work, I'm going to do all these different types of work, and sometimes a lot of firms will give you billable hour credit for doing these different types of work, but you always need to be aware that you're going to be evaluated more for the billable work that you do, meaning clients paying you than not being paid. So people look forward to, as associates, as to doing pro bono work. Often they're invited to, they get to go to campuses and help with recruiting. They get to help partners with things that may not be billable. Sometimes you'll write articles and things, or that you can do for your firm that may not count as billable hours. But even if you're given credit for that, these hours really aren't something that's going to help you that much. So you need to be careful about doing things that aren't billable hours. You only have a limited amount of time in a day, and your goal really is ultimately to make as much money as possible for the firm. So obviously, campus recruiting things can make money for the firm, but your main goal is to try to work on things that are making money. So what I'm saying here is that you don't want to get distracted by a lot of things that don't bill hours. And as a matter of fact, I mean, if it was me, and from what I've seen, I would do my best to avoid it, because what really matters is your ability, to bring in money, and you need to find work to be done. You need to do as much extra work as you can for partners, and you need to, if you're an associate, and even partners need to think about that, because the billable hours of the money that you bring in ultimately matters. You should be focused all the time on how do you make more money for the firm? How do you make the firm more profitable? And you need to be careful. People get dragged into committees and things a lot of times, or they do it thinking this is going to be good, or they're interested, or they do pro bono. But if you're not making money for the firm, the firm isn't, you're less valuable than people that are. So thinking about, if you're, I mean, a lot of people are very interested in pro bono, they're interested in things that aren't necessarily practicing law. They think it's cool. They think that they, whatever whatever the reasons for that, you just have to be very, very careful about what you're doing. So a lot of firms will tell you, you'll kind of be under the impression that it's okay to be doing things that aren't necessarily billable, and a lot of people are interested in that, and they think it's cool to doing other things. But ultimately, what matters the most, excuse me a second, the camera, is making, sorry, I have a cold there, and I'm just what's ultimately going to be most important is your ability to make money for the firm. So you really need to be focused on that. If it was me, instead of doing pro bono, I would, do whatever I could to be making money for the firm, or get employment security by trying to get clients instead of doing pro bono. And you need to look at people that have succeeded in your firm. People that succeed are most often going to be often way geared towards bringing in clients than are working lots of hours than doing something related to anything that's not a billable hour requirement. So if you're not interested in billing hours and bringing in clients, then you need to be doing something else, probably with your law degree. If you're focused on things that aren't making money for the firm and aren't going to bring in business, then you should do something else. And you should try to figure this out pretty early in your career. If you don't think you're going to be interested in being kind of a billing machine and then transitioning that into billing hours, then you really need to think about bringing in clients. Then you should really do something else. And because that's the game. The game is to work as hard as you can and bill hours earlier in your career, and then turn that into business. And if you don't see yourself doing that, then you really should be doing something else. There's no sense in spending 8-10 years of your life in a law firm if you don't feel like you're going to be doing what you need to do to make money. I mean, that's the whole idea. And if you don't do it, you can be a contract attorney, you can go in-house. Going in-house can often be a very good decision. You may have less hours, you're not accountable for your time, or you can work in public interest, or you can get out of law altogether. It's not worth it if you don't feel like you're gonna have the interest in ultimately trying to become a business generator in a law firm, because that's really what you need to do without being a law firm. So, when I was at my, I'll just tell you kind of my history, a little bit about what my decisions were when I was a lawyer, because I'm obviously in recruiting now. I started out at my first firm, Quinn Emanuel, and they had so much work and so much business that they just needed people to work very hard, and they literally had so much business that they were able to make equity partners many times to the people that they liked that didn't have any work. And some of those people became very successful. One of my friends uh, started, I think, Quinn, when he was maybe 25, and by the time he was 45, he made partner maybe when he started at 25. He might have made partner when he was like 32, and he did that for 13 years and made so much money without any business that he ended up retiring at the age of 45. That's a very rare condition to be in. I mean, a situation to be in. But when I started at the firm, I was like, this place has so much work that I'm never going to have the employment stability of having my own clients. Because if you don't have your own clients, you're just kind of you're hostage to a firm and other people bringing in business. And this particular firm has so much business, they really didn't even, it wasn't on their radar. They didn't need people to have business early at that point in their careers. And that's not what I wanted. So I moved to another firm where I knew I could bring in business and be successful. And I did bring in business, but I got to the point where I was like, this is not, working in a law firm and bringing in business is not what I'm interested in. I just didn't think I wanted to do it. And I found what I'm doing now. And for me, that was a much better career path because I figured, I would have the ability to do something else without that pressure that I thought was a better career move for me. So you need to think about very seriously if working in a law firm, billing hours and bringing in business is what you want. And if it's something you can see yourself doing, if it's something that's going to make you happy for the rest of your career. And you can figure that out pretty early on because if it's not what you want to do, it's really not what you should be doing. I mean, you need to think, is this what I want to do? Do I want to bring in business? Do I want to run my career as someone that's bringing in business and doing the work and giving to other people? Or do I want to do something else altogether? And you need to realize what I'm talking about very, very early in your career, because if you never bring in business and you just do the work, you're going to be hostage to people that have the work. If their work slows down, they're going to let the people go that are doing the work because they don't want to pay you. And if you get senior and you don't have work and they don't have the work, they're not going to want to pay you either. So the only way to have any success in the practice of law is to have your own business, to be able to control the business, to be able to create work, meaning get extra work from clients. And if you can't see yourself doing that, then it's really not the career you should be in. And it's something that you should figure out very, very early on. You can go to a big firm where you may not need, it may be impossible to bring in business. The type of clients you need are so large, or you can go to maybe work in a smaller firm where you see yourself doing that, or maybe you branch out and do something completely different. I remember when I was going through a divorce several years ago. My ex-wife hired an attorney to be her divorce lawyer, and he'd actually worked at Quinn and was a litigator, but he decided to become a family law attorney because he figured that bringing in people that were getting divorced and making money and billing hours to them would be a lot easier than trying to bring in large clients. So a lot of times people, even from big firms, will make decisions to do something else just completely different. They'll go into family law, they'll go into personal. I know one guy that I was working, a good friend of mine actually, he was working, a very smart guy. He graduated from Harvard Law School at something ridiculous at like the age of, I don't know, like 22. He went to UCLA when he was 16 because he was just so off the chart smart. He graduated from there at the age of 19 and went straight to Harvard Law School and graduated at like the age of 22 and got a job, I think, at Gibson Dunn, maybe it was on Melviny, and couldn't see himself ever bringing in clients for that firm or being successful. And so he just, in the kind of short time period that he wanted to be successful. And so he quit the job and started a personal injury firm, and he's now very, very successful doing that. So And he figured it would be easier to bring in personal injury clients than it would be to bring in like giant General Motors and people like that. So he made that career decision. So you need to understand is working in a law firm, big law firm, small law firm, whatever you're doing, is that something you can see yourself being successful in? Is that a way to bring in clients? Because ultimately, if you're going to practice law, the name of the game is always having work to do. So how do you make sure you always have work to do, and thinking about, am I always going to have work to do? And what I'm saying, and what's so, the message, it may not sound like that significant of a statement, but but it is, regardless of what you're doing, your goal is to always have work. So if you don't have work, your career ends. So if you're an associate in a law firm, as you get more and more senior, it's going to be harder and harder to get work unless you have business. So if you have business, then you have work. So, or if you're doing something in another practice area, like you're switching from commercial litigation to family law, I mean, that's a way to make sure you always have work. But you're not going to succeed in the practice of law unless you always have work. Now, there's all sorts of ways you can get work and continue to get work in a large law firm. A partner in a law firm that I had do real estate for work for me for several years. He was a real estate partner. He never brought in business, but he was the mentor and worked very, very closely with a partner that had this huge book of business, like $50 million. And so he was able to give him plenty of work to do on a consistent basis. And that man, followed this partner for his whole career. I mean, he's probably in his, late 50s now, and the partner that was giving him work is in his late 70s. But he always was able to get work from him. So that's a very, very important thing. I know another guy at Latham and Watkins that was working, I think, in the Orange County office of the firm, doing these certain type of M&A transactions with healthcare companies. I think it was pharmaceutical companies, and he worked for a partner early in his career that did nothing but that, and he kept working for him. And then when that partner retired, he gave him all these clients and a way to generate business because of that. So he always had access to work. So you always have to figure out, in any law firm, am I going to continually get access to work? How am I going to get work? And if you don't see yourself being able to continually get work, then your career is over. So just think about, at least in a law firm, just think about, how am I going to consistently get work? What am I going to do in my career to always have work? You have to think about, what you're going to do to continually get work. And working for a company is a way to get work as an in-house counsel. But even that's dangerous because, you go in-house, and when you go in-house, you're hoping that the company is always going to give you work, but the company will not always give you work if you're in-house, because if a new CEO comes in, they will often want to bring in all their legal people or their new general counsel, and they may not want to give you work. They may want to have people. The new general counsel may want to hire their own people, which often happens. So that's dangerous. If a new general counsel comes into a company, they will often, get rid of everyone and bring their own people in. I mean, it's very, very dangerous. Or companies go out of business, or they merge. And when that happens, the people in their legal department go, or the company may slow down. And attorneys in the company are cost centers, so they get rid of them. So you just need to understand all these different things that are important to get work. And billable hours are one thing, but but you need access to work. And as you get more senior, regardless of the law school you went to, regardless of how well what a good attorney you are or whatever, no one cares if you went to University of Chicago Law School or Stanford or whatever. What they care about, what you need to understand, is the only thing that's going to make you valuable, the billable hours or the work that you have. And it's just very, very important to be aware of that. As you get more senior, you need to always have access to work. So these are just things about billable hours. Every law firms are going to have expectations when you're an associate of how many hours you should bill. You have to become productive. You have to understand if you're in a law firm, your hourly requirements, like how many hours you need to bill. You always want to bill more than you should, than you're required to. You have to, you don't want to have the reputation of doing a bare minimum. So example would be if a law firm has an 1,800-hour billable requirement, a lot of associates will come in there. They'll think of themselves like as just workers with expectations. This is almost kind of like a blue collar mentality. So they're told, okay, you got to bill 1,800 hours. So they'll make sure they bill the minimum. The problem is that when you do that, law firms, they circulate to the partners the hours that everyone billed. If they see 20 associates billing 1,800 and 1,900 hours, and then another couple of associates are billing like 2,500 hours, well, obviously the people that are billing the most hours are going to be the most valuable. The billable hours that you're billing are often kind of a break even point. I mean, that's going to give you job security sometimes, but honestly, the people that have the most job security are the people that bill the most hours. I always remember when I was at Quinn Emanuel, I quit, and when I quit, they tried to get me to stay, which was very flattering. But I remember a partner came by my office, and I said, well, this person, didn't make partner, and this person did. And they said something to me that was just ridiculous. I mean, well, not ridiculous, but I mean, it gives you kind of an idea of how things work. They said, well, that person that didn't make partner only billed 2,600 hours, and the person that made partner billed like 3,200 hours or something. So this is like how they measure your value is by doing more than is expected. That's just how it works. And there's other things too that happen with billable hours. You have to be able to work for you have to be able to work for clients that are actually paying the bills. So it's just something to think about. You may work for sometimes like a junior partner, and the junior partner may not have a good enough relationship where the clients are paying the bills. So you want to, you want to be in a situation where the hours that you bill are collectible, because sometimes you may work with hours that aren't collectible. And if you work for partners where the hours aren't collectible, even though you don't necessarily know the hours are collectible, if you're continually working for people where the hours aren't getting collected, that's going to cause that's not going to reflect well on you, which isn't something you would necessarily understand. But you need to be working for people where those hours are where the law firm's making money from them. So these are just a few things. These statements are really for junior partners, but unless you're billing hours with things, you need to be very careful. So you need to avoid things that are not billable. So obviously, if you go to lunch, that's not billable. If you get dragged into, training sessions, recruiting, doing other things for the firm that aren't billable, that's a problem. You should avoid, spending time talking to people in the office if you're not, I mean, just hanging out if you're not billing hours. You always need to work, more hours. You will always want to be billing as many hours as you possibly can. You need to put yourself in a position where you're billing as much as possible throughout the day, where it's uninterrupted. So sometimes I know partners will get up and start work at like 4 in the morning because no one's interrupting them, and they're getting a lot of hours billed then. So you just want to put yourself in a position where you're billing as many hours and working as many hours as possible. Just kind of thinking about that. You need to always think about strategy. So being strategic means that you're doing what you can to just build the hours you can, and then always turn in your hours as early as possible, because if you do, then clients are not going to get bills later. So you need to make sure that you're turning in your hours on time. So what that means is what happens is if you turn in your hours late, then the law firm has to bill the client late. If the client's bill late, they're less likely to pay for work that might see. They're sending out a bill, but then the next bill has a lot of hours on it that weren't on the first. It matter that may have gone away. So you just want to be on top of that. So when you're billing hours, when you're working in a law firm and billing hours, you just need to make sure that you're keeping track of every single thing that you do, and meaning that every hour that you bill, you're writing down or you're thinking about an issue. Most people you should be writing down your hours pretty much every day. So so you have that, and just being very, very diligent about making sure that you're billing everything you do. So a lot of people are kind of very moral about this, and they think, oh, I don't necessarily, I'm not going to bill for doing certain things, but everything that you're doing related to a client, you should be billing the time for. So, pretty much all hours, anything that you do. What happens to an associate is if you write down your hours and the partner doesn't like them, partners will generally see the hours before they're submitted to the partner will generally see the hours before they're submitted to the client. So let the partners, mark them up or down. It doesn't really, make sense to not doing that. So yeah. So these are just some small, things about our billing hours, and necessarily. Inflating them. These are just some simple things about, billing, but you want to make sure that you're, billing pretty much everything that you possibly can. So these are just some small things about, billing and understanding kind of what you need to do. It's not, this is just some quick, things about billing, hours that I don't think you necessarily need to go into much detail about billing. But one thing I also wanted to just bring to your attention, real briefly, is that. I've rarely seen, and this is, in the years that I practice law, I've rarely seen someone come to an associate and really question them, like saying, "Oh, these are too many hours that you billed." I mean, most of the time, you will never be told that you billed too many hours, too many. I mean, So, what that says to me is that, um, and I'm not trying to, be immoral or anything here, but what that says to me is that if you are billing, if you write down too many hours, most of the time no one's going to say anything to you, which is kind of crazy. But at the same time, if you bill a lot of hours to a matter, then almost always no one's going to ever say anything bad to you. So, and you're not going to get into trouble. So you really should be billing pretty much, everything that you do, as long as you're being very specific on your bills, then you're going to be okay. So this is just kind of a course in non-billable and billable hour activities. It's not that just anything that I think is that I need to go into a lot of detail, because most of this is pretty obvious. So so this is it's been a kind of a quick presentation about this. There a lot more to say, but I think my main point that I just want you to understand from this presentation is that when you're an associate, you need to bill as many of your activities as many hours as possible, and then always be thinking kind of in the background about how am I going to be more profitable in my firm. So you're going to be more profitable in your firm when you, as an associate, when you bill as many hours as you possibly can, and then also bring in business. And the people that, when you're an associate, I remember that in my first firm, there was a guy that made partner within like 3 years at Quinn and Mann. It was kind of a record, and he was billing like over 3,000 hours a year in order to do that, and became very, very successful. It's kind of sad. I mean, his name was Sam, and he just worked so hard and so many hours, and he did that, I don't know, for 10, 12 years. And then actually, it's kind of sad. He had a heart attack and died, from working so hard. And that certainly is not a good story from that point of view. But it does show that billing a lot of hours can make you very, very successful as an associate. There was another associate at the same firm, and he's still alive, and he had come over from he'd worked at Cravath, and Moore, and then he'd gone to work for one of their big clients, IBM, in-house, and then he came back to Quinn, and he very, very much wanted to be a partner, and so he was there for I think 2 years, and was passed up for partnership, and they had partnership elections once a year, and so he coming after a second year, they had they met, decided it was going to be partners, and they decided they didn't make him a partner, I guess, because he had been there long enough, and then he decided he was going to do everything he possibly could to be, to show how dedicated he was to the firm and how much he wanted to be a partner. And he did something crazy, like, I don't know, he was billing, like, I guess in a week there would be 168 hours, is that right? And so he was billing, I don't know, he billed something incredible, like 30 or 40 hours or something a month for 3 months. Now, one thing I just wanted to cover with everyone real quickly is I was telling a story about a guy that billed this incredible number of hours when after he after he didn't make partner. And what happened, just to give you an idea of how important billable hours are, is he ended up after that happened, he ended up with being able to have to become a partner in the law firm by billing so many hours, like he did. So just showing everyone kind of the importance of billable hours and how incredibly important that is for a law firm. So I'm going to go to Q&A right now. I apologize that I had that mix up with the power here, and you're not something that normally happens here, but I just did have a power failure. So give me one quick second. Okay, so this next question, there's not a lot of questions. I do have a little bit of it. Well, actually, there are a few questions, a little bit of a time crunch here, but the first question is, in my firm, there's been some debate about whether we should adopt alternative fee agreements instead of relying solely on billable hours. I'm curious to know your thoughts on the pros and cons of each approach. Have you seen any successful examples of firms transitioning away from billable hours? And if so, what factors contributed to their success? How can I present the idea of alternative fee arrangements to my partners in a way that encourages productive discussion and decision making? Well, honestly, as an associate, it's not really your role to come in and talk to your law firm about alternative fee agreements. That's not really your role. Partners are in charge of coming, of however they charge their clients. It's not something that you really should be trying to discuss with your firm. I mean, you can certainly bring it up, but ultimately it's the partners that have control over how they bill their clients. Your job as an associate is really just to be kind of a worker and do the work. As a solo practitioner, I often find myself juggling multiple cases simultaneously, which can make it challenging to accurately track my billable hours. Do you have any tips for maintaining organized records of my time without feeling overwhelmed? More about how can I ensure I'm allocating enough time to each case while still maintaining a healthy work-life balance? I'd appreciate any advice on establishing effective time management practices tailored to the unique demands of my solo practitioner. Okay, so it's not really you're as a solo practitioner. It's really kind of your role to figure out how you're going to bill clients for your time. It's not really something that I can help you with. I don't think it's in terms of your organized records. I don't know. That's really going to be your decision in terms of what clients are willing to pay. I don't think that's something that I can really help you with in terms of work-life balance. When you have to take clients and work on cases the way you want. Okay, I've recently had a situation where a potential client seemed interested in my services, but they ended up going with a more senior attorney at the firm. How can I compete with more established lawyers within the firm to attract clients and build my own book of business? It's just hard to lose on opportunities, especially when I know I can handle the work. I don't know what happened there, but you have to, if you're bringing in work and you're competing with a partner, typically, if the partner's the one that gets credit for it, then you have to do a better job of making sure you get credit. So it's actually an interesting statement that you make. What happens to a lot of associates and firms is they bring in clients, but then a partner will end up taking credit for it. That's just something that happens. So you need to figure out a way to get credit. Sometimes in firms you can't get credit. So there's certain firms where if the partner had contact with the client at any time in the past before you, then they're more likely they're more likely to get credit for the work than you. So and I mean for the client. So you have to either be in a firm where you're going to get credit or figure out the ways to get credit for bringing in the client. So it's a good question. It does happen to a lot of attorneys where they get in a position where partners are taking credit and getting the clients to you. I've seen that happen to people on a lot of occasions. So you just need to become savvy and realize how to make sure that you're bringing in that you're getting credit for the client that you bring in. I've heard about the importance of tracking non-billable hours development activities, but I'm not sure where to start. Can you recommend any specific tools or methods for keeping track of networking events, client meetings, and other activities? They contribute to building a book of business. I want to demonstrate my value to the firm beyond just billable hours. You're, as I said in this presentation, I mean, you're welcome to do keep track of all these types of events for business development activities and so forth. But ultimately, what's most important to the firm is you being able to actually convert those non-billable hours into clients. So, a lot of attorneys will write down business development activities and other things, but they're not necessarily going to be able to get, they're not always going to get credit for bringing in for that type of work. I mean, it's not leading, unless it leads to money, people aren't really going to care. So, you can certainly, one thing that I noticed, a very successful attorney that I know, and he's got a huge book of business right now, like $30 million. What he did was, in his associate, was he would go and he would, bill his 2,000 hours a year at the firm, but then he would spend another 2,000 hours going out and developing clients, not getting credit for that, but over time he was able to bring in a significant book of business. So you have to decide how you're going to kind of use your time. Okay, let's see here. If you do non-billable work, you can certainly write it down, but it's only going to matter if it converts into clients. Okay, I often found myself torn between prioritizing billable work and investing time in activities that could lead to future business opportunities. How can I strike the right balance between meeting short-term billable hour requirements and focusing on long-term career growth? It feels like something I'm stuck in a cycle of constantly chasing billable hours without progress towards partnership. Okay, so I think it's a similar answer to the question answered before. You need to be able to run your life so you can be bringing in business and also doing the work. So if you are billing the minimum of what a firm requires or a little bit over the minimum, then you should also be doing business development activities as well. You need to make it part of your part of your life. I mean, you need to run your life and your career in a way that also develops business. So that means going out and finding potential clients, entertaining them, doing whatever you can to bring in business while also doing the work that's required for you in your job. So, and if you're converting that extra time into clients, that's gonna lead to something. I've been in my firm a couple of years now, and I've noticed a discrepancy in how billable hours are allocated among associates. How can I ensure that my workload is balanced effectively to optimize my productivity without burning out? Well, as a junior associate and as a mid-level associate especially, you're going to be judged by how many hours you bill. So that's just important. It depends on the firm you're at. But and you may burn out, but you need to figure out if that's what you want to do and do your best to bill as many hours as you can. And if you feel like that's not something you want to do, then you need to you can do something else. I mean, one thing I would talk about, when people talk about burning out, people that burn out often aren't enjoying the work that they're doing. So you should really try to make sure you're enjoying, if you enjoy litigation, that you really enjoy it. If you don't, then you should do, maybe be doing, something else. I mean, that with your time or a different type of litigation. It's just kind of what it is when you work in a larger law firm. Okay, in some cases, I've had clients request meetings or consultations over lunch, which typically extends beyond the typical billable hours. How can I approach these situations tactfully to ensure I'm not undervaluing my time while also meeting the client's needs? Are there ways to communicate boundaries effectively without jeopardizing the client relationship? Well, lunches, dinners, all that sort of thing are very important for developing clients. I don't, You don't obviously need to bill for all that time, but the law is a relationship business. So you should never think of spending time with clients or potential clients as something that's bad. I mean, because it will lead often, obviously, hopefully, to more billable hours in the future. Let's see here. Last question. This webinar, by the way, and this is not the most interesting one that I've done. I think that for a lot of people, it's billable hours is kind of it's not the most interesting topic, and I will definitely do a more interesting topic next week. And this is the final question, but this particular webinar is a topic that people need to understand. When you're going into the practice of law, because it does determine how successful you're going to be, and a lot of people don't understand it. Someone considering the transition to a contract attorney role. I'm concerned about the potential long-term implications of my career directory. How do hiring managers and partners perceive contract attorneys in terms of advancement opportunities within the firm or transition to other roles? Are there certain strategies or experience that can enhance the marketability of contract attorneys for future career aspirations? So when you make a decision to become a contract attorney, essentially what you're saying is that you want to be someone that is working, that was doing work for others and getting paid in a certain way where there's no expectation of being a partner, and you're just basically hiring yourself out as someone to do the work. Contract attorneys it's not a good position in a lot of respects, and this is actually a very good question about being a contract attorney. The reason it's a dangerous decision is because once you're a contract attorney, the odds of you becoming a regular attorney within any law firm are very, very slim, because it's not perceived as good of a role. I've seen people that went to Yale Law School become contract attorneys within firms. And the problem being a contract attorney is if the work runs out, then they're going to let you go and give it to associates. A contract attorney does not look good on your resume because it shows that you don't have the ambition often, or the want. You don't want to be a regular associate with those expectations. You want to basically run your life and career doing as little work. I mean, working in a role where you're just paid for your time and you're not there for advancement and so forth. And so that's dangerous. It's a dangerous decision to make. And your long-term career directories are basically you're showing future employers that you either weren't good enough to be hired as an associate or whatever it was, or that wasn't your long-term interest. So it's very difficult to be marketable as a contract attorney. You may have to move between firms. Another danger of being a contract attorney is that the work you do is typically not going to be as sophisticated as the work that's given to regular attorneys. So you'll be doing work often that other people don't want to do, that other associates don't want to do. It's maybe more busy work, and it's difficult. So what do you do to transition to other roles? You basically will try to find a firm that's willing to hire a contract attorney as a permanent associate or another role, and it's but it's not easy. So you're becoming a contract attorney. You're often avoiding the expectations that may be there for a typical associate, but your advancement opportunities are very, very slim, and it's scary, man. I mean, if you make that decision, it does have long-term implications, because your resume shows you're a contract attorney at the firm, which makes it's not the same as being a regular attorney. Now, there are people that are able to stay contract attorneys inside of law firms for a long time. Some big law firms have people that might have been a contract attorney there for 20, 30 years, but often not that long, more likely like 5 or 6 at the longest. But it's difficult. You don't have a lot of career, you don't have a lot of job security. It's also, to bring in business as a contract attorney is almost unheard of. So it is very limiting. Same thing with being a staff attorney. You need to be very, very careful because your marketability is going to decrease. Your advancement opportunities are very, very slim, as well as your employment security. So those are some of the things I would say about that. So thank you for being on this webinar. This was not the most exciting of topics. I will definitely admit that. Next week's webinar would be much better. I appreciate everyone staying with me with power failure, and I will be back next week. So thank you for being on this webinar, and I will talk to everyone next week.